Welcome to Soul, Light, and Body. Today is such a beautiful day. We are here once again, and we are given the opportunity to make changes in our lives. We can do some journaling and write down those thoughts that are not so nice, and also write down the good thoughts that we are having. Because we can always go back and revisit and truly understand exactly the period in time that whatever we're going through, to see the good and the not so good and appreciate those moments that we went through. Because we all go through these different experiences and it's for a reason. It's to help us to evolve and to grow. Are you being your authentic self? Are you peeling back those layers to see exactly what's going on in your life? Are you pausing? Are you doing some self actualization? Because many times we undergo all the time and we're not finding that time to pause to do that self check-in and to see exactly what's going on in our lives. What are some of the things that you're telling yourself when you stand in front of that mirror? Each day when you show up in front of that mirror, what are some of the things in that you're telling yourself? Do you have a morning routine? What is your morning routine? Many times we just get up off our beds and we just on the go. We don't even stop. We don't even have a journal that we could write certain things down inside. It's very important that we really understand our lives. And for us to understand our lives, we got to start checking in the morning with a morning routine so we could kickstart our day. Because we as human beings, we tend to blame ourselves for a lot of things. And because we're not checking in and to truly understand who we are, we tend to blame ourselves. So today we are given this opportunity, we're given this moment, we're given this chance that we could start to check in with ourselves and see how our life is going. And if it's not going right, we can make the change. We have that ability to make the change. And to make that change, you got to go within. And once you go within, the change is going to start to happen on the external. The internal starts first, then you're going to see it on the external. So today, sit with yourself. Take 10 to, or even 5 minutes if you have, just sit with yourself. Sit with yourself and understand yourself. Because that's the only way you can move forward. By doing that, you will be able to get clarity about your life, clarity about situations, and you could able to move forward, understanding who you are. Because you got to know yourself first. Are you loving on yourself? What is your relationship with yourself? What's some of the stories you're telling yourself? That old paradigm that you run every single day. You got to start to rewire the brain and rewire the mind to really understand who you are. Start from today. This moment, you can make that start. You're given this present moment for a fresh start. It's a golden opportunity we all have, this present moment. So dive in and rewire and start. Today we got such a fabulous guest here, and she is really here to help us to understand how we can unmask and how we can find our resilience within ourselves. Because we all have that. We all given that golden nugget, it's within us. But you know what? We got to go within. Because many times we are looking for it on the outside. It's not there. Journey within and you'll find it there. I'm Karen Pascal, holistic health and wellness coach and a co-author of two ebooks with my sister Joan Williams. And we also have a digital magazine and a hard copy magazine. And I just want to share this good news with you. Joan will give you the rest of it too. Is wherever you are today, whatever is inside of you, birth it. Don't hold it in. Birth it. If you want to write a book, write a book. If you want to start a podcast, start that podcast. Whatever it is that is have you burning desire within you, start it. It don't have to be perfect. The universe is gonna take it where it needs to go. Last night, myself and Joan, we started a radio. We are hosting a radio show in the UK. They reached out to us a couple weeks ago and asked us if we could host a show, a health show in the United Kingdom. When myself and Joan started Soul Light and Body, we did not know where the show was going. But because we stay on course, you never know who are looking at you. And the radio station, 246 Bajan Vibes Radio, they reached out to Joan and I and asked us if we could host a health show on the station. And we accepted the offer. And last night was our first broadcast in the United Kingdom. It's being aired in 14 countries around the world. So whatever is in your heart to birth, just birth it. It don't have to be perfect. Just start. And it's gonna take legs and it's gonna start to move. And people are gonna see you and they're gonna reach out to you to do things. Everything is gonna fall into place. Don't worry about viewers. Don't worry who is gonna listen. The right people will listen and show up. Just start. Whatever is there, just start. Joan, take the mic.
Thank you so much, Karen, for a great opening. Happy Monday to all of you. Those who are going to be looking at the replay and those who are present at this moment. Love yourself. Take time for yourself. It's so important. It's essential. Setting your intentions are very, very important. And set your intentions with clarity. Be clear as crystal what your intentions are. Because what clarity does, it gives us a sense of direction where we're going. And then move with a level of confidence because you're already self assured. You know what is it you want, you know what is it you're going after because you have that level of clarity and have that level of confidence. And always go within, as Karen rightly said, going within, searching ourselves, going to that inner core. And then also know what your core values are. That's very important. And show yourself love. Don't be so hard on yourself. Life is challenged by itself. So, in order to move forward, you have to show yourself love, compassion, grace. Have that grace and move in your purpose and your passion. Because once you find that thing within you as an individual, why am I here? My reason for being here. Once you can find that, what makes you excited every morning when you up out of your bed? What makes you excited? When we can find and harness those things, it reflects on our outside because we're living from the inside out. And don't forget this piece, which is important. Nourish yourself. Because yes, we're holistic health coaches. We talk about nourishing and feeding yourself good and high quality food. Make sure you stay hydrated. But there are other components in our life that need to be aligned to make us as a whole individual. Our relationships. How is our environment inside out? Are we living with clutter or are we able to have a clear space where we can navigate easily. And not only in our environment outside, what are we not refusing to let go? What are we holding on to? Because the longer we hold on to stuff, what happens? It hinders us. It hinders us from moving forward and leveling up. Because the world is moving at such a fast pace, we have to level up all the time and help us to get to evolve and move to a different level. Accept yourself for who you are. Know that you are enough. Know that you're special. And to add another piece to that, know that you are worthy. Get to worthy. Get to that level of worthiness. As Karen mentioned earlier, where we are hosting another show Sunday evenings. So the things that we need to worry about is just this ourself. Start with there first. And when we start with there first, everything falls into place because the universe supports us. Have your level of spirituality that you know that there's another power outside of you that supports you. And go forward. It was an amazing show we hosted last night. I'm just going to give you a little tip. The guest that we had was Dr. Terrence Johnson and Dr. Nupi, which many of you are familiar with. And it was an amazing show because we talk about self-awareness, self-love. Because it was our first show, and we want to start it with self and then journey out yourself. Who are you and who you are becoming? And what are some of the things that you talking to yourself? And just before I move forward, setting your boundaries are so essential. Because when you set your boundaries, you're setting your boundaries for your well being so that you can maintain the state that you want to be in and remove things that are no longer serving you so that we can all live our true, essential self. My name is Joan Williams, holistic health and wellness coach and co-author of Three Books. And thank you all so much for giving us the great reviews about the magazine that we offer because it's a nice additional piece for our home. We can have it on our nightstand and read great articles of staying healthy. And our newsletter, it should be out this week here. That's another additional piece that we have. And we're working on so many other projects. But when we're making and creating our projects, we have you in mind because you are special. And thank you all for supporting us on this journey called life. Now, today we have a wonderful and amazing guest. I can hear you saying, yes, you guys are saying amazing, but all our guests are amazing because what they do, when they come to soul, light, and body, they bring value and value that can help all of us. We take what is necessary for us and we let the rest go. So, our guest today is Donna Martin. She's a good life coach and she's going to really help us and focus on resiliency. And that word resiliency is coming up a lot in different spaces. But she's going to dive deep and help us to understand how we can take that step forward, regardless of what we're going through or what we're experiencing at this point in time. So, Donna, welcome.
Thank you so much, Joan, and thank you, Karen, for having me. I am absolutely delighted to be here sharing and shining light on resiliency, on all things health and well-being and mindset. It's what I do, and it's something that saved my life genuinely. So I love talking about it.
Thank you for saying yes. Thank you for being here. Tell us who is Donna Martin and how you journey us through how you reached to this level in your life that is so awesome and beautiful.
Yeah, so for those that aren't familiar with me, my name's Donna Martin and I am the Good Life Coach. And what I do is I guide business owners and leaders, and that's not just leaders, executive leaders, leaders in a company, but it's leaders in life. I'm a leader, a mommy of 3 young boys. It's a leader in your life and how you show up, how other people follow you, how you guide. So it's in multiple aspects, not just leadership of a team or work, but in life. So I guide leaders and business owners like myself to intentionally design and then create their good life, whatever that good life looks like and
Right?
means for them. So that's part of what I do from my own process and my own journey, Joan.
Wow, isn't that especially such a time like this, how it is so essential. And it's so wonderful. We give you your flowers today because you're showing up in different spaces where it's at this point in time, people need guidance. They need a level of understanding, as I was talking earlier about leveling up, how they can move forward and feel secure in their space. So, what? Tell us what are some of the things mainly you focus on to when you get a project that you start on? What are some of the things that you really focus and key into and zoom into to start that individual, that company move forward?
So for me, everything begins with a goal. So when you're talking about internally, we ignore ourselves so much. We don't pay attention to those warning signs, those red flags. We don't pay attention to that feeling of that is right intuitively. I need to reach out to this person, because we let what we call our paradigm, our rucksack of these beliefs, these fears, these limitations from all of life's experiences often hold us back. And those diamonds that we normally gather in our life, we dim them, we shove them right down in that backpack and then load on all the stuff from society, social media, from family, from past experience. And this is why when people talk about going within, a lot of us shut down because they're like, it's fluff. That doesn't make sense. It's lovey dovey. It's hippie. It's woo woo. When you understand that this is not something created in the 60s, but hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of years, that there are actual universal laws, that manifestation is to make real, to bring something from your imagined reality into the real, into the here and now physical world. When you begin to understand that there is a law of vibration, of energy, of emotion, that actually comes before that. And that is your inner internal energy, because we are made of energy. Our mind is in every cell of our body. I trained and done a degree in nursing. I was a nurse for over 15 years. And I thought our mind was in my skull, in my brain. And that what came out of that meant that that was my fate. It was my destiny. It was the rite of passage, good or bad. But oh my God, I couldn't have been more wrong, Joan. I couldn't have been more wrong, Karen.
Right. And it's not beautiful that we train, yeah, because I have a background in nursing as well, so I know what you're saying. And now that we are living in a different time and as we evolve with growth and expansion, our perception, our insights has changed, and we're looking things from a different lens. And what an eye opener when we move in those spaces and we can see things with clarity and move in a different direction. Thank you for everything that you do. Thank you for changing lives. You're creating an impact every day. Your audio rooms that you do with Annie and everything else that you do, it's truly amazing. So today we just want to celebrate who you are as a person and what you bring to different spaces that you go into because it makes a big difference. So thank you.
Oh, you're so welcome. Thank you. It's for me, this is part of why I'm here, without a
Mhm.
shadow of a doubt. It saved me, and I had to come to the brink, to the bottom, to understand, to see clear, and to learn that resiliency, to learn those tools, to learn another way, another perspective, and it through a different lens than what I was looking through. And it's part of the process, but it's amazing.
It is. Talk about the what do we have to, I know you talk about resiliency, but how do you find that one individual who may be listening today or on the replay, how are we able to harness that level of courage going through something, feeling some way? How are we able to harness that level of courage and become resilient or find that resiliency to move forward from where we are or were, regardless whatever the situation might have been? How do we harness that? How do we move forward from that space? Because it can really bog us down and we can get stuck in that space. Can you give us one tip or tips? How do we pull ourselves forward,
Yes,
push
so
forward?
that's a great one. And for me, resiliency, when I was going through, because we had a I've had multiple emotional impacts in my own life as a child, then as a woman in my 30s, 20s, sorry, and then going right through transitioning in my 30s till I was 40. And that was the final wake up call, because this time it was different. I wasn't just on my own. I had my three young boys, Ollie, Leo, and Louis. They're now 4, 6, and 10. But Louis was only tiny, like he was 6 months or a year, and I just turned 40. And you have all these different transitions, but the one thing that I kept asking throughout this, I had pity parties, I had massive bouts of anger, of frustration, of lashing out, of crying, of hiding away, of trying to get up every day and do your best and not thinking you're worthy and why me and why. But the one thing, if you take away from this, the one thing I kept asking was, what do I need to do next?
Mm, that's
For months, what do I need to do next? Because what I say to people all the time in any of my audio rooms, any call that I'm on, you're exactly where you're meant to be at this moment in time. And this is critical for people to understand, because where you're at now in your level of self awareness, your awareness of how you think, how you feel, how your mind interacts to accumulate your outer world, this changes everything. And when you start asking a question within, what do I need to do, or who do I need to reach out to? Pay attention to the inner feeling inside. If you connect with someone, pay attention to the language, pay attention to things that you see repetitively, and ask yourself, is this the right next step for me?
wow. Thank you for explaining that. It's awesome. That bring a lot of clarity to us to understand that, because we all go through things in different times, different spaces. But how do we move back? That's important. So thank you for that enlightenment, Karen.
Yes, Donna, thank you once again for explaining that, because many times we all go through challenges. We all go through situations. And many times we tend to blame ourselves for a lot of things. And we start to play the pity party. And when we reach to that space, a lot of times it's not a nice place to be. And for us to remove from that space, it needs a lot of strength. And the strength that we need is using certain modalities to really get us to stand again and to start walking. So many times you find that you cannot do it alone. You got to reach out and get help. And don't be ashamed to ask for help. Asking for help doesn't mean that you're weak. It means that you made up your mind that you really want to start moving forward with your life. Reach out and get help. If you're that person or persons that listening this morning, reach out and get help. Because staying there, it's not going to help you. You got to get up. You got to find that strength within and get up and start to make those baby steps and honor those baby steps that you're making. Don't tell yourself, oh, if I make this step, I'm not going to head anywhere. No. Honor that first step that you're going to make, honor it. Because that is the step that is going to help you to start evolving. And that is the step is going to help you to have clarity on the situation that you may be going through at this point in time. Donna, when you talk about peeling back layers, can you help the audience and the viewers to understand what is peeling back layers? Because many times when we hear peeling back layers, we're thinking about an onion, right? And to get to that core of that onion, right? So let's look at the core as the self. To get to that core, we need to peel back. Look how many layers of an onion we got to peel back to get to that core. So, how can someone start to peel back the layers to get to that core? What are some of the modalities that an individual can use to get to that core?
That's a great question, Karen. And
Yeah.
yeah, that's exactly what I liken it to is an onion, peeling back the layers. And it's asking yourself when things show up,
Mm-hmm.
they usually show up repeatedly, but in a different form. So if you're in a toxic relationship, it may be a different physical partner on the outside, but it is all the same traits, the same modalities, the same things going on. It's
Mm-hmm.
the same for your health if you're consistently in that health role, in that story loop, or if you're in a financial crisis, always in fear, lack, and limitation, or if you stay stuck in job after job that's not serving, or around people that aren't serving you because you're afraid to move forward. But it comes back to asking yourself, what do I need to fill up my cup? What brings me joy? After I had my kids, to be honest, I didn't really know. For a period, I got lost in what brought me joy because you're trying to be mommy, you're trying to figure everything out, you're trying to manage the adjustments, the hormones, everything and life, and then balance them whenever you come back into a workspace. And definitely when you start your own business, if you're a parent on here. Oh my God. And I don't say guilt, but there is that thing where you have to define then for you what is being my authentic self, what is true for me, what brings me true joy. But a lot of times, because when I talk about emotional impacts, you can be okay in a surface level no matter what you go for. You can be really successful in your business. But as you talked about at the start, Karen, and I love this analogy, when you go home and close the door and stand in the raw, naked truth of who you are, can you look at yourself in the mirror in the dead of night, just you and you? Because it's you versus you. It's not you versus the world or you versus your partner or your neighbor. You cannot get away from the truth, the core, the
Right.
program, the fundamental of who you are. And when we understand that that's where your subconscious is housed, that's your program and that's your function, which ultimately gives you all your results. Just look at your current results in your life, in your relationship with yourself and then others. What is your ripple effect in your relationship with finances, your health, and your business or your work? Because if you're getting recurring results, and this was me, if you feel like you're going round in circles, if you're always at a crossroads, if you're always stuck, if you're always looking for the next shiny object, the next best thing, but you're not getting the results, or things keep showing up where you're getting messages of, I've failed, I've crashed and burned, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy. Listen to the formation of the joining dots. Look at the recurrent things. Do you believe you're worthy? Do you love yourself? Do you respect yourself enough to set healthy boundaries? Are you being too hard, too critical on yourself? These are all core aspects for resilience and for living a good life, I believe.
Wow. I'm so glad you talk about in what your presentation there and how you highlighted some of the core principles. Feeling worthy of yourself, thinking about lack, because I think when we all think about lack, and I'm glad you touched on the piece of money and finances, because I think that is always comes up, feeling lack and don't want it and not living in the state of abundance. And I think, isn't it that our mindset has to change first before we can harness all these different modalities? Because if we're coming from a space of limited belief and from that old system, because old system does not serve us well in new seasons. So how do we able to merge ourselves, moving from old system, old belief, limited belief, self-talk, and how do we reinforce and become reaffirm, and what do we tell ourselves in moving into a new season, new space, and evolving.
Yeah, well, that's powerful, Joan, because somebody, I don't even know who it was, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over, yet expecting a different result. It's just, and this is what we're programmed to do. This is what we're taught, or we go on autopilot to do. So my thing is, what is your inner self-talk?
Mm-hmm.
And this is one of my mindset tools that I use with people and that I created because it had such a phenomenal transformation on me. Whatever follows I am
Mm,
follows you. I'm
yeah,
sick, I'm broke, I'm tired, I'm fed up, I'm frustrated, I'm too fat, I'm too thin, I'm too ugly, I'm not well. I'm amazing, I'm beautiful, I'm worthy, I'm abundant, I'm gorgeous, I am prosperous, I am flying high, I am loving me, I am loving life. I am living my good life. But we are not taught to
right.
do this. So,
Mm-hmm.
how else do you know?
Right, right. Oh my God. What you said was so golden because when we can start programming and redefining who we are as a person and look at ourselves in the mirror daily and say these beautiful things to ourselves and be firm about it, our lives start to change gradually in small increments. Things change. And you are true a testament of this.
Well, the thing I want to add to that, sorry, Karen, before you jump in, is that we either can only change in two ways. Either
Mm-hmm.
it's through repetition, because if you look at your current story loop, whatever, because we think in pictures, whatever thought we plant, whatever seed is in there, we have a choice. As a human being, we have an intellect and we have an actual choice where we can either bat that out, swipe
Mm-hmm.
left, say, no, that doesn't serve me, or we can say, okay, I accept that. So, what are you accepting today that's either supporting you or bringing you down? Because you have a choice. And if you didn't know this, I didn't know this. This is a real game changer because you then attach, you create and formulate an image in your head, and then you attach a feeling to it. So, whatever story loop you're telling yourself or you're living in the past, in now, I'm not good enough, I'm not worthy, my last business failed, I went bankrupt through a different scenario of an emotional impact, went through death threats, went through multiple impacts. But you have to ask yourself, are you sitting in a wallow and pity of poor me?
Mm-hmm.
I was sick and tired of being sick and tired. So are
Right.
you sick and tired of being sick and tired? You need to understand it's either an emotional impact or constant spaced repetition. It's the only two ways to change your program, and you don't have to wait for the impact.
Sure. You're absolutely right what you're saying, Donna. And listening to you with the response, we got our children, and we really need to start with our children because many times we are adults and the things that our parents put into our heads, that is what we live. So we now come to this conscious awareness of the things that we should be doing with our lives. We really need to focus on the younger generation that is coming up because they are the future. And we really need to tell them great things every single day because remember, they are listening to us, what we are saying to them. And whatever we say to them, we are molding them. And that is how they're going to be walking into the future with that paradigm that we are giving to them every day. So let's start with our younger generation, the things that we are really telling them every day. Let's start with them. It's time we as parents check in with our children and start with them. It is so important. How can someone really dive deep and start to really take off this mask gradually? Because sometimes it's really hard to just pull it off. So some people would just kind of like start to take it off, and they may take a peep, and some people might even pull it on back because they're so scared. Fear. So, what are some of the modalities one can use to start to take it off very slowly and start to wear a different lens to see?
That's powerful, Karen. And this is something that I go through with my clients all the time. Simply start by being in a room on your own in a safe space and looking at yourself. Go really close, really deep, because you can only focus on one eye at a time. And they say the eyes are the window to the soul. I remember I used to have just a glazed look. I looked lost, and I look back at different periods in my life where I was lost, and you can see it in my eyes, the vibration, the energy that's transferred and locked under that photo. So start in a safe space with yourself, looking at yourself in the mirror and asking yourself the simple question: what do I love about myself? Nothing critical, just what do I love about me? What are my good qualities? Start asking yourself. Do you know, we have this beautiful mind, but we also have a beautiful body, and we don't give gratitude enough
Right.
because we're always looking at the physical and how do my clothes fit, or they're okay because they're like a supermodel, or they're okay because they're blessed with this and this. We all have our own path to travel, our own
Right.
journey, and we all have our soul, our higher self within us, guiding us, directing us. But it is about learning to connect with the beauty and truth that is you, your soul, your divine. And this is what goes deeper by
Yes.
asking yourself, do I believe that I'm worthy? And what is your answer?
Mhm.
Yes. Why do I believe that? What qualities do I admire in me? Do I believe I'm not worthy? And if it is, why not? And when you're talking about journal, I always say to clients, vomit it out onto the page.
Mhm.
Literally everything that is locked in your head, locked in your
Right.
stomach, your chest, that gut feeling that's making you feel sick or unworthy, vomit it out. And Tommy's saying there, you had that glazed look. It is absolutely phenomenal when you learn to start shining your light. You
Mhm.
give permission to others to do the same.
Yes.
But that all begins, you are the ripple effect in every aspect. And if you want others to change, if you desire others to change, you have to do the work, and
Yes.
you have to be willing to look at yourself and change from that point of view first. So I always give people to start with that and write down 5 simple I am statements about themselves.
Mhm.
I am worthy. I
Right.
am enough. I am
Yes.
exactly where I'm meant to be. I am deserving of prosperity. I am what a worthy woman or a worthy man looks like. I am healthy. I am happy, and I am calm were two of my core things, because all I wanted at the beginning of my journey was to feel happy again, to not feel lost
Right.
all the time. So they're powerful ones that I always get people to start with, because it's that shift of your
Yes.
internal feeling about yourself. When you start to pay attention to yourself, when you start to give yourself more self-care, self-love, you open yourself up to wider possibilities of more abundance, of more joy, of more prosperity. And then it expands as your awareness of you expands.
It's, I mean, Donna, I mean, what you explained there was so beautiful, so amazing, because I think enough times we don't hear that of our I ams, and how should we remind ourselves that, and even let it be repetitive, because the more repetitive it is, the more we are cementing that down in ourselves and our inner core within. Talk to us about staying present in the moment.
I am laughing. If anybody has kids here, oh my God. They definitely drag you kicking and screaming back into the present moment. And there are times now, I've been taking a deep dive into me for nearly 3 years now. And as much as you go through your process and yourself, because of our programmings, you can still, there's times I still react instead of responding. And in the past, I would roar and shout and giving out. And in the past, I would have then felt guilty, annoyed, upset, and then you're getting that off energy. But the more you become aware of you and remove ego out of the way, the more you practice the standards and the boundaries that you want to have, the quicker you bounce back. That's what resilience is. If you look up in the dictionary, it's the bounce back ability of a material or fabric, but it is our bounce back of us. It's our resilience to show up, to keep going. Like my kids, I'll be quicker now if I react instead of respond to something, but most of the times I've learned to sit in that moment and wait, think, process something, and then respond. But if I do react, and yes, I do, because the human side comes out and you can be, rah, not even just with the kids, but in your business, the other people, we can all be like that. And it's not, there's nobody holier than thou, and there's no such thing as perfect. You show up every day exactly where you're at. And if you fly off, then pull it back, bounce back quicker, apologize. This is one of the key things when you're talking about kids, Karen. My kids know, I talk to them about the universal laws, the law of vibration, cause and effect, that we are a boomerang. We are a cause, and what we put out, we are the ripple effect. And that effect then is what comes back in our results. So I teach this to my kids. So when they're teenagers, when they're adults, they are going to have more confidence, more belief in themselves and their
Yes.
abilities, not from ego, but from a place of service, from a place of self-love, of value, of passion, of purpose, of why they're here. And oh my God, like that just fills me with tears of gratitude, of
Yeah.
thanks that all the things that I've been through, I always had a sense that they were building me up for something more. And this is part of it, that my kids, that it's breaking a cycle. And
Mhm.
it just changes everything.
That's beautiful. You know, I just want to just kick back a little bit and talk about piggyback a little bit and talk about there's something that you mentioned there. I know you talk a lot and lots unpack, but you talk about perfection. Can you dive a little bit deeper because we always want things to be perfect? Can you talk about that, please? Thank you.
Well, when I myself and my husband met in Australia, and we lived in Sydney, and we used to share a house with other boys, and I had that much OCD before my first boy Ollie was born. I had all these things regimented, and I would get really panicked and anxiety and panic attacks, and everything had to be. And if things were changed, I used to just lose it. My world would, and I would be overwhelmed inside and anxious, and but I was completely out of control. But when you learn to go back to yourself, and that there's no such thing, and now as my second boy came along, and then my third boy came along, and then as things came up for us, that we had no choice. Every time that grip, but you know, when you're holding on so tight, it lessened and lessened and lessened and
Mhm.
lessened. And it was through these different experiences that I learned to trust the process more, that there is no such thing as perfection.
Mhm.
You are exactly where you're meant to be. If you have an inspired idea, like the lady said, go after it. If you feel the urge to write a book, go and write the book. This was me, and I'd put it off. I had an idea for a while, but as soon as I made the decision, the
Yeah.
way was shown, and within 4 months, that translated into a bestseller, co-author of Our Spiritual Awakening. But it was part of my journey and path. So when you trust No such thing as perfection. When you let go and let
Mhm.
God, or let go and let universe, or understand that there is a higher power, a higher source. We didn't just land here and it's all glory for some and then other people suffer and it's good luck. We are all meant to live an abundant, prosperous life, but some of us, we're all at different levels of self-awareness.
Yes.
And that's the key. There's no perfection. So let it go and stop giving yourself such a hard time, and things will be actually better for you.
Wow.
You're absolutely right,
Thank you.
Donna, because many times we are so afraid. The fear, it's just the fear. The fear consumes us so much that we really don't want to step into action. But when you are at that space, make a list. Make a list of the things that you really want to start to see in your life. Because when you make that list, that's part of the action. That's part of the action step. So in that space of fear, see it as a space where you can make that list. And once you start to write all the things down, that's the action. And
Hmm.
that's the first step you start to make. It may not look like that to you, but that is what it is. It's the step you're making there. Because if you just sit there and allow that fear to consume you, see the fear as something good. See the fear trying to let you know that, you know what, there is strength within me that I could make this action step forward. And to do that, make that list of all the things that you would like to accomplish in your life. And then you start to make those little baby steps. Look at us. We didn't born big like this. We had to go through all these stages of life
Hmm.
to be what we are today. You
Yes, that
first
is.
be born, you gotta birth what you want, you gotta push it out. Whatever you want to birth, you gotta
Mhm.
push it out. It's be so painful because we as women who have kids, we know it's very painful to push it out. So whatever you have inside of you, you want to birth, you gotta push and push it out,
Mhm.
birth it. And when you birth it, you gotta nourish it. You got to give it all the modalities it need to grow. So that is what we have to do. And then you got to start creeping. You got to start creeping. And then you may stand up to walk, but you may fall down back. But you're not going to stay there. You're going to stand up again and start to make those steps. Look,
Mhm.
just take I look at a little baby, a 1 year old or a 7 month old. They're trying to stand up. They're trying to talk. So it's just like us. Even so, if you fall today, get back up and start walking. Don't look at this as a failure. Look at it as something good. Sometimes when you fall back, it's time for you to pause and go a little bit more within,
Mhm.
or even to peel back another layer, because sometimes you need to see something else. If you move forward and then look at that particular layer, you can't get to see exactly where you're going. So look at it when you fall back a little bit, look at it as though, you know what, I'm peeling back another layer. I'm getting the chance to peel back another layer so I can have the clarity that I need to move forward with my plan, my goal, whatever you want to do. So let's look at fear as peeling back layers.
Yeah,
That is why that come up. So we're gonna able to peel back the layer that we could able to see to move forward. We gotta get uncomfortable in these situations. We gotta get uncomfortable. It's necessary for us to get uncomfortable so we could start to evolve. It's necessary, right, Donna?
it is. It is.
Yeah, do you know that's it? Nothing great happens in your comfort zone.
No.
The greatness comes when you move out. And when I think about taking off the mask, a lot of people that I have conversations with on the phone, a lot of people that I talk to about coaching and what I do, the biggest thing for them is not the fear of setting a goal as in business or whatever else. It's actually the fear of what they're going to reveal about themselves.
Right.
What has been hidden? What have they stuffed down? What have they ignored for years, fueled with
Mm-hmm.
drink, fueled with drugs, fueled with food, fueled with toxic relationships? A lot of it comes back to that fear that they don't believe that they're strong enough to be ready to deal with who they truly are.
Right.
And most times they have no idea or concept of what that actually even looks like, because they've had so many other people or experiences tell them different, tell them they're not worthy, tell them they're not loved, tell them they wouldn't amount to anything. Who do you think you are?
Right.
And that is so much. But my question to you is, what is the best that can happen if you decide to start taking a peek, as Karen says,
Right.
to start looking at yourself in the mirror, to start saying, who do I believe myself to be? Because your concept, your identity, your belief of you is what is true for you, because it's your belief, your idea. And not all of them have been created by you, but either consciously or unconsciously, you've allowed them under that rucksack and they're just weighing you down. And one of the things is, they say that when your unconscious or your subconscious is ready to deal with something, it'll bring it to you again. And now I only go on my experience of this, because my mother left when I was 4.5. And my recognition, my story memory was that she told us that she didn't love us when she was leaving on Christmas Eve. And that is a pattern that I repeated for years. I stuffed it down. I put on a face. I went through drink. I went through drugs. I went through repetitive, destructive relationships because I didn't value me. Because now I don't know, was this an idea or a concept that I made up? What is the truth? What is not? But the thing then I asked myself was, do you know what? It doesn't actually matter, because what do I believe as a grown ass adult? What do I believe is my truth? What am I deciding to rewrite? Do I decide to let that go? Do I decide to send love to my 4.5-year-old self and say, you're okay, I've got you? Do I decide to do the inner healing, the inner work, and say, who am I becoming now? Who am I deciding to be? I am in control of me. I'm the boss of me. I think for me. I feel for me. I breathe for me. I breathe life into my future, into my environment, into what I desire to be, to have. And it's, why are you here? So that's what I invite you to ask yourself today. What do you want to breathe life into for you, for your future?
Yeah.
What ripple effect do you want to be now? Not from years ago, but now, right in this present moment. How do you want to be?
That's powerful. That's really, really powerful, because I think we all need to hear that, because we all are in different stages as our lives, we're different seasons. And to highlight those things will help all of us, those who are listening right now and those who are listening on the replay. So how we can identify these things and help ourselves, because each one of us want to be our best. We want to live our true essential self. And going through life in different stages, sometimes it can be very tumultuous, it can be very chaotic. And it's that we can start. We had a guest on last week, Angel, which about parenting, because when being 4 years old and not have that love, affection, and everything, we have to sometimes just have to pause and go back to that and start loving ourselves from that moment when we realized that that was lacking, that was a deficit. We did not receive that. We grown adults now with so much science and technology that are available to. We can take the time, work on ourselves, take that time out and work on ourselves and go back and bring that love, bring that peace, bring that compassion in, bring that grace in, and help us to all live in the space of worthiness. So thank you so much for that. That was so beautifully said.
Yes, it was, and as you rightfully said, we had a guest on last week and she was talking about reparenting, you know. Many times we really need to go back to that childhood and start to reparent that childhood because it helps us to move into a space of healing. It helps us to really understand and forgive our parents because forgiveness is one of the biggest one too. We got to forgive our parents because they only bring along what they know, right? And now we are adults. We become aware and we understand life on a very deeper level. We could take ourselves back to that childhood and start to reparent that child and help that child to heal so that we could move forward. And by doing that, it really helps us to really get a deeper understanding of our parents and of ourselves. So today, if you could just stop reliving and blaming and not forgiving and start the healing by reparenting that little child that was broken at the age of, like Donna, at the age of 4. And Donna had to make that conscious choice
Mm-hmm.
to know what I could do this. I didn't get it from my mom, but I'm a mom now. Or even so, if you're not a mom, you could act a mom role in your life to go back to that child and reparent that child and help that child to heal so you could start to move forward. And the process may not be easy, but once you make that choice to do that, you will get that strength that you need to move forward. So today, we just want to encourage you that healing, forgiveness, forgive yourself. Forgive yourself. It starts with you.
Mm-hmm.
You could only do it. Don't sit there and tell yourself no, no. Come on. We all can do it. We all built with that within us. We got that strength within us.
Mm-hmm.
But it's for us to recognize that we have that strength.
Right.
And
That is.
As Donna rightfully said, start with your I ams.
Mm-hmm.
What word you place at the end of that I am. That's very, very important. And make a list, make an action list, and start making those little baby steps. And as you make those baby steps, honor them. It's very important that you honor them. And if one day you kind of cave a little bit,
It's okay.
it's quite okay. You
It's
can
okay.
get back up because you're built with that strength within you,
Yeah.
that resiliency. You're built for that. We all are built for that. So, Donna,
Yeah.
before you leave, what beautiful words can you leave with the audience?
Well, just even listening to you talking there about the forgiveness and stuff, when that was something that was first brought to me, I was like, I'm not ready to forgive people. Why do I forgive people for stuff I don't believe that they done? It wasn't right, so why should I forgive them? But the key here is to understand that forgiveness isn't
Right.
about forgiving other people.
Forgive
It's
yourself.
not about forgiving other people for their actions. It is about forgiving and sending love because it allows you to disconnect your energy, your emotion, your energetic field
Mm-hmm.
from that destructive behavior, from that old process, from that negativity. And by doing this, you free yourself.
Yes.
So this is an act for you. Forgiving others, sent love to others is not airy fairy, but it is a way of disconnecting
Mm-hmm.
your energetic field to the magnetism, to the attraction of those negative powers. And when you do that process, everything becomes easier. You feel lighter, your process, and that includes forgiving yourself. And this is the key thing, because if everything begins and ends within you, your outer world is a reflection of your inner world, your inner beliefs, your beliefs about yourself, your program. If you cannot forgive yourself, then you will continue in a spiral with things showing up until you're ready to sit and do the work on you. So that's what I would recommend to anybody. Reach out to myself, reach out to Karen, to Joan. There are multiple people. There's over 8 billion of us on this planet, and we are all interlinked, but we are not right for the right message or the calling. So whether you're called to connect with us, then connect. If you're called to connect with somebody else, then do it, because we hear and connect and resonate with different energies
Mm-hmm.
differently. So that would be my advice. Start asking yourself the question now. Start looking at yourself, giving yourself self-love, and asking yourself, what is my right next step? What do I need to do for me to live my good life? And lastly, what does my good life look like, feel
Yes.
like, and mean for me? Because most don't know.
Yeah. Wow. I mean, Donna, when one look at you, and thank you for sharing your story and thanking you for being in this space with us this morning. And looking back when you went back to 4 years old and all of the things that was said, and we just want to, I know we said it before, but we just want to take this moment to really congratulate you for who you are, and take that you took the necessary steps to work on yourself and create really a moment of game changing. So you become a game changer, and now you've moved your level fast forward to this moment that we're in right now, and you are able to harness all of that and transform yourself in such a beautiful person. You were beautiful before, but you're different now because you're adding much more value to every space you're in, and you're able to transform life as you speak into spaces. People connect with you. So we are very proud of you. We give you your flowers this morning because we appreciate for what you're doing and the impact that you are creating in the world. So we just want to say that to you and thank you for being here.
You're so welcome. Thank you for having me on, and thank you to all the people for their lovely comments and for your own shares and stuff. It's very much appreciated. And just take what you need from this call
Hmm?
and leave the rest. That's it. There's no right or wrong. Just do what you're called to
Right.
do. So thank you, ladies. I appreciate
Thank
it.
you. Thank you.
We just want to thank all the viewers for taking the time and sitting with us. And I hope that you've been taking some notes, because there was a lot of tools that was given here this morning that you could add
Mhm.
to your toolbox. So whenever a situation or an experience just show up in your life, you can able to reach to your toolbox and take out those tools that you could able to handle that situation. And we move through life, and as we mentioned about fear, we need to look long and hard at that word fear, because fear holds us back. And we really need to look at fear with a different eye. Fear is really telling us those are the things that we need to work on in our lives. And whatever is it that you're working on, we wish you all the best. Take the time, go within, see exactly the things that need to be healed and start working on it. Take those baby steps. It is so important to take those baby steps. Honor your steps. Be authentic with yourself. Be uncomfortable to get comfortable. That's so important. Keep your cup filled so you could pour. Keep your cup filled so you could pour. Find a morning routine. Each day, find a morning routine to kickstart your day. Get a journal. If you don't have a journal, get some piece of paper and make sure every morning you write down at least three things that you're grateful for. Write it down. The way how you're feeling, write it down. Sometimes you're at work and you may pause and you may say, oh my God, I'm not feeling. Go within. Go within, write down the way how you're feeling. What are the stories that you're telling yourself on the rewind? What are those stories? Look at those stories. See if those stories are serving you, if it's helping you to move forward or if it's holding you back. Revisit it. Go within. We can't stress enough, you gotta go internal.
Yes.
Because many times we as humans, we are looking for the answers on the outside and it's not there. It's not on the outside. Things that you may think that is going to help you on the outside, it's only a temporary fix. It's only temporary. You got to go inward to get the results that you're looking for. It's so super important that we understand that. We got to peel back those layers to get to the core, to get to the self. We got to start peeling it back because it is so important that we really start to do that. It's going to be uncomfortable because those are waters we never went in before. It's going to be rough. It's going to be really rough. It's going to be a rough ride. But you know what? We got to enjoy the ride because the end results is beautiful.
Yes.
So we just got to go within. And once we go internal, we're going to change the external. The external going to start to make those shifts. Once we
Always.
go internal. Donna, you are phenomenal. We just want to thank you so much for taking the time to sit with us, excuse me, in this space and to really helping us and the viewers to really understand what it is to take off that mask and find that resiliency that it is within our lives. And we could start that today. This
Thank you.
very moment, we can start that. Thank
Yes.
you for sharing your story with us. And thank you for really sharing a story that on the replay or anyone in the audience, they could, if they had that rough childhood, they could understand, you know what, if Donna could do it, I can do it. So let this be the moment you start that journey. Thank you guys so much for
Thank
joining
you.
us today.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure. You can reach Donna. All her handles are in the comments below. You can reach out to Donna, have a talk with her. Donna, have a fabulous holiday in Australia. Enjoy yourself because that's a part of self-care. Just enjoy yourself. It's time for you and your family. Just do it.
You're
And to
moving into a new season.
absolutely.
You're moving
And to
into a
the
new season.
audience, thank you once again for joining us. Have a wonderful week. Bye bye.
Bye to all of you.
Thanks, folks.